Welcome to Section 31, episode number 313. I'm Dan Hammond.
And I am Rogue Schindler.
This week, I think we promised many things, but it turns out we're just going to talk about Comic-Con since Rogue went and had a great time, and there was surprisingly Star Trek news on multiple fronts, and so we'll chat about that. I think I usually start the question with how many costumes you brought, but was it lighter this year since you had extra baggage to take with you everywhere?
Just a little bit. Not too much, actually, but a little. At Comic-Con, we don't really do more than one costume a day, unless there is extenuating circumstances. But we did forego the masquerade this year, which was our usual gigantic time sink. And you know, what with not having time, all that time being devoted to a youngling, there was it was a good thing. We toyed with the idea of trying a couple of times. It's like, oh, we could do it. No, that's a bad idea. But no, we had costumes Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and she had costumes Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Awesome.
Yeah, we did our traditional Indiana Jones group, and just on a joke conversation where somebody's like, "Oh, you should put her in little something, and she can be so and so," and we're like, "Oh no, it'd be really funny. We could put her in a little fez, and she's got this big belly, and she could be Sala," and that was the end. That was it. So yeah, it was hilarious. Caitlin made her little fez and painted that tie and suit lapels.
Yeah.
On a white onesie, and made her a little beard on a stick.
Yeah. Okay. Hold it up for pictures.
Yep, exactly. And it didn't matter most of the time anyway, because she was. We had to wear her because we spent enough years at Comic-Con cursing people who tried to bring strollers to realize that we weren't going to bring a stroller. So we basically had to wear her the whole time. So Caitlin had actually did a really good job. She made a brown, like an indie jacket brown wrap, ring wrap to wear her in, and so she was Indiana Jones, and she wore a little Sala around, and then her dad and I were our usual characters. So that got a lot of traction. A lot of people entertained by that little baby Sala. So that was Thursday, and we did do a lot on Thursday, but at one point we were. It was very warm. It was super hot on Thursday and Friday, like very gross hot, and like so much so I packed up my costume and then and put most of it on at the con because I just couldn't walk from, just from the parking garage across the street. And so at some point we saw that Ballroom 20 was open, and we're like, let's just go in and sit down in the air conditioning and relax in the dark and feed the baby and not do anything.
Yeah, I know the feeling. Yeah.
So we did that, and it turned out that a panel after next was Luke Cage, the upcoming Marvel Netflix series, which I was like, oh, hell yeah, I want to see Luke Cage. So that was actually really great. So we stuck around. Yeah, we sat through something. I don't even remember. That was not good. And then we got to see Luke Cage, and it was really great. They had a cool sizzle reel for the first 3 series. And then John Bernthal unexpectedly came out. He's the guy who played the Punisher. And He just kind of walked out at the end of the reel, and Jeff Loeb was like, "Oh, hi, John." And he's like, "Can we see that again, please?" Because the very end, it was like Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and then they just do a real, like right after the blackout, they cut over to Sniper, and then him walking into the camera with the big skull, fading in, and they're like, let's watch that one more time. And then at the end of that, they announced that they're actually going to do a Punisher series.
Nice.
as well. So that was really cool. Just kind of tacked on the front. We got to see
Cool.
the whole cast of Luke Cage. It looks really good. They played a lot of clips, and it looks really solid.
When does what is the timeline for that? Does it take place after the first season of Jessica Jones?
It does. So you kind of get a taste of his character there, and then and I guess just her exploits and other people encourage, because he's sort of a reluctant hero. He just kind of wants to be left alone, and he plays that. The guy they got is just so good at playing that exasperated. Because I don't know how much you know about Luke Cage, but he's basically unbreakable.
Okay, sure.
He's got super strength, and he's invulnerable, and so he's just exasperated by having to constantly explain this to thugs. And the clip they show is him walking in and everybody unloading automatic weapons into him, and him sighing with here we go again. And when everybody runs out of clips, he's like, he looks down, he looks up, he's like, I'm getting really tired of having to always buy new clothes.
Right, because they have bullets in them, but not him. Right.
Exactly. And then he throttles everybody. But it looks really good. He's got a great dry sense of humor. The cast looks amazing. Lily Sloan from First Contact, Alfre Woodard, is in it. She's got a major supporting character role in it. His name is escaping me. Ali from House of Cards is he just got a supporting actor Emmy nomination on House of Cards. He is going to be the main villain. So it looks like a really solid cast, and then they have a black showrunner, which I was like, come on, you have to. And so it was nice to make sure that they were doing that, and they're doing it's not quite exactly like Guardians of the Galaxy, but in the same vein. Music plays a really integral role in the show, and it sounds really cool with that. And they talked a lot about that. Really looking forward to it. Only it's like 2 more months, so September 30th to start mainlining that. So that was kind of the Thursday highlight. And then at the tag of that, as they're getting to close, they had a video clip from behind the scenes shooting Iron Fist.
I saw the trailer for that.
Yeah. And then right after that, they're like, okay, so now we've shown you a little clip. You've seen the first 2, and we've got Luke Cage, and you saw a little bit of Iron Fist. So you're going to start to see a little bit of what it's like when they come together as the Defenders. And then they showed like a teaser trailer. It was all graphics, but it didn't matter. It was meant absolutely nothing, but everybody went apeshit anyway. It was really cool.
Cool. That sounds good. I enjoyed watching finally at least the first 2 seasons of Daredevil and Jessica Jones. So,
oh, you did get through Jessica Jones.
We did, yeah.
What'd you think?
I had a good time. I liked the Punisher character. I liked the Electra character. Probably a little bit less, but it was an interesting twist at the end that I probably should have saw coming, because it's a comic book movie, and that's kind of the thing that happens in comic book movies, in the comic books. But no, it was entertaining. I had a good time.
Nice. So that was Thursday. Friday was taken up by the 100, which we're well documented fans of. I mentioned our exploits at WonderCon, where we got to stand in line and meet the 2 actors that we cosplay, and they got the show people asked us to stick around for a picture with them, and it was really great. We got to meet them a little bit more. So this year we got up early, went and got in line, sat through 2 bad panels to get to our good panel, and we went up and sort of shamelessly went into the Q&A line, basically, so we could wave at them and say, hey, here we are, and you remember the Belly from April? Here she is now. And she had a little onesie from the 100 that a friend that we made through the fandom had made, or had sent us, and they were very excited. And Eliza Taylor, who plays the lead Clark that Caitlin cosplay. He's like, "Oh my God, it's you! Please, can I hold your baby?"
Oh, jeez.
And we were like, "Yeah, you can hold her anytime. Awesome." And we were kind of nervous, and we were trying not to, try to play it cool and get our question right and not be, total geeks. But realized shortly, like just a little too late. It's like, we were the next to last question, and if we had, when we were done, just walked around the edge of the room to the front of the stage, we would have been there by the time the last question was done, and we probably could have gotten them to come in and goo over the baby. But say la vie. It was still a lot of fun, and it was it was great to talk to them. I don't know how much you've heard from Debbie, but this past season was largely balls.
Yeah.
Until about the last third, and there's been a lot of grief about it, but they seem to have acknowledged that, and the writers particularly are like, yeah, we see what we did there, and we're fixing it. We have good plans for the next season, which they're getting a next season, which is kind of surprising. So yeah. So that was great. We had a fan meetup afterwards with that. Caitlin had organized, and a bunch of people came out. It's probably like 30, 35 people. And it was still balls hot, and people came anyway. So that's I think, even a greater sign of people enjoying it. So that was great. And then we did something after that, and I'm just, it's been a long weekend.
Yeah.
Went home and crashed. But Saturday was our Star Wars day. This is the one I've been looking forward to basically since we knew we were going to come with her, which was wear my Poe Dameron costume and have Laura be Baby-8.
Yes, Octavia.
Yeah, and Caitlin got a big stuffed animal and gutted it, and we were going to kind of fill it out to put it on her, but it was very clear that really wearing her was the way to go. She was actually really well behaved the whole time. She basically slept while we were wearing her through everything.
Nice. Can't really ask much more than that.
Exactly. The din of the crowd is great white noise, and she just, as long as we fed her regularly, it was, and kept her worn. That was great. So instead, Caitlin had the brilliant idea of decorating our carrier. And so she kind of, the bulge of the baby was the sphere of BB-8, and then we have a onesie and hat set, BB-8 themed, and so we put the hat on her backwards, so right. the front's facing out, and she just walked around like that. So Caitlin wore all black, like she was almost tempted to try and get green spandex, and be like a green screen, but time was not on our side for that. So that might be a future endeavor, but it was still really funny. She wore black and a little orange flower, so she was theme colored, and obviously got way more compliments than the rest of us. She was a big hit.
Excellent.
Saturday was a little surreal for us though, because we weren't doing Masquerade, and Saturday is basically usually taken up entirely by Masquerade for us. We have to be there in the morning to drop off all our stuff, unload our entire set, and then put it together. And at some point we have to check in and rehearse, and we have to, our call is at 5:30, so we can't really do anything in the late day of the con, and so we barely get anything con related on Saturdays usually. This week or this year, that was not the case, and holy crap, we did not miss anything. It a zoo. We didn't have any time to stand in line the night before, which is what everybody had done for things, and unlike their scheduling in the past, where things were kind of staggered and spread out, they actually did some really cool themed scheduling this year, but it meant that everybody was packed into rooms and not going anywhere. The Saturday afternoon Ballroom 20 was back to back to back to back. Green Arrow, The Flash, Supergirl, and Legends of Tomorrow, all 4 CW superhero shows.
It almost sounds like a Dragon Con style track.
Yeah, exactly. It's a the network. This is our network block. But that would have been amazing, but it was just too hairy to try and get into anything. And so we went for a walk. We went for a poke walk because it was a crush of humanity on the inside, and it was actually quite pleasant outside that day. Saturday was a really thick marine layer that day, and it was nice breezy. A lot of the humidity had burned off, and Caitlin has not had a lot of chance to get out near the water, because we go up the harbor to get some water Pokemon. So we're like, all right, let's just go outside and walk along the back of the convention center to keep the baby occupied, and that was actually quite pleasant. And we saw at least another 100 people doing the same thing.
I can imagine. It's kind of thing that the more people are there, the more targets are going to be out there, right?
Yeah, exactly. The spawning generation is based on cellular usage. So the more there is in an area, the more concentrated the spawning is going to be. So yeah, it was that was nice. It wasn't like crazy, but out and around the convention center, Pokemon Go was a theme for the convention this year. It was really funny, and lots of people commenting, it's like, this was the best standing in line I've ever done at a con, because I was never bored. We were totally occupied the whole time. And there were several points around the convention center where there were gyms, and there were people who had camped overnight, like within range of that gym or even a little further, and had come in, and those gyms were like hotly contested. They were changing hands, every other minute. And so that actually was really cool, that it was, something to keep people occupied. But we also couldn't stay too late. It was fine that we weren't that interested, because a very kind coworker of Caitlin's had offered to babysit at some point during the con if we had so desired. And we figured, since we weren't in the masquerade, it would behoove us to actually go see the masquerade.
Oh,
and that would be something that would be advantageous to do without the baby. So we went home a little bit early, and had dinner, dropped off the kid, changed, and then came back and went to masquerade. So it was nice to get to relax and be part of the crowd, and realize things about how things are seen from the house that we don't usually realize.
Interesting. So you use a little bit of research.
Yeah.
Like what, for example?
Just the way things are staged, the way things, facing, how important facing is, how important it is to stage things. If you're going to use the video screen in the back, how important it is to stage things around it so you're not blocking the parts you want to be seen. We had briefly discussed, because we always do something song related, and I was like, I wonder if it would be possible, or if it would even be worth it, or if it would be too distracting to try and put our lyrics up on the screen. Because we always try to have nice, crisp, high quality audio so you can follow what we're saying, because that's part of the joke. A lot of times the joke of our skit relies on you understanding what we're saying. And we're planning something next year that's going to require a lot of lyrics. And it's like that, it might be just too distracting, but it might be, it might just enhance it. And then we saw a group do it. And it was definitely not the way I would have done it, but it was definitely too distracting. We're like, oh, okay, now we know. That was cool. I wouldn't, trying to think through it theoretically, I could have gone either way, but just actually seeing it, we're like, yeah. I mean, they made the mistake of having their lyrics go all the way down the screen. So the bottom 2 lines, they had 6 lines high, and it's a huge screen, but they're standing in front of the first two lines, so
Right.
you can't see anything that's happening. And
Reminds me of epic rap battles of history, right? First time you watch it, you're reading all the lyrics and not actually seeing what's going on, and then you watch it
exactly.
again to see what they're actually doing. But you don't get to watch it again at the Masquerade, right? You get the one run.
That's the main problem. So, we had that discussion, and it confirmed what my colleagues, the people who I was asking, being Caitlin and her dad, but we do a pretty good job of relying on our staging and our actions to tell the story along with the lyrics, so people get the gist of what's going on, and I think we'll probably continue to do that.
Is Masquerade something you have to wait in line for, or was there plenty of seating for that?
It is something that many people have to wait in line for. It was not something we had to wait in line for. We've made a lot of friends with the Masquerade. They have first of all, they have VIP tickets, and usually each group gets a couple to give out, and people, some people can have them. And so if you're like, oh, I want two of our friends to go and tape it or watch it from the inside, you can do that. We know everybody who runs it and a lot of people who work for it, and we got offers for a lot of tickets. And then the stage manager was just like, oh no, don't worry about it. Just text me when you get here. It's like, all right, well, it's nice to know that, the 12 years of, blood, sweat, and tears we've put into contributing to the showmanship of Masquerade was appreciated on some level.
Yeah, nice.
So
yeah,
it was cool. We came in and we got to sit. We didn't cram into the front row, but we got the front of the second section, so we could not have anybody in front of us and have a good view of the stage and the screen. And yeah, it was kind of short this year. It was surprising. It was only 35 entries. It's only barely 2 hours. Usually it's an all-night affair where we're not done until after midnight, but we kind of had mixed feelings. We're like, well, I kind of feel bad we didn't do it this year, because then we would have, helped fill it out and, bring the quality up. But at the same time, it's like, it's kind of a down year. Maybe it was good we weren't, a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, did you kind of feel like, wow, we could have done really well this year?
Yeah. So here's the rub with that. Yes, from a performance standpoint, absolutely. However, there was a group, or I should say a pair entry that was Kylo Ren and Rey, and they came out and there was some voiceover, and they started to do a little bit of a duel, and then she kind of force pushes him down to one knee, and he struggles, and then he peels off his helmet and reaches into his pocket and pulls out a ring.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh, come on, we don't need any Reylo fix in the middle of the Masquerade. And it's like, oh no, it wasn't a fanfic. It was an actual real life proposal.
What was it expected by both parties?
It did not seem to be. It seemed to be planned on the half of Kylo Ren.
Awesome. All right. Well, that'd be tough to.
Yeah. So that was really cute. And then like the first thing Caitlin said was like, "Oh, that's so good, so sweet." They better not win anything, because it's kind of unfair. It's how do you compete with that? And sure enough, I don't think they actually won any medal prizes, but they got the Frankenson's Audience Favorite Award, which is the biggest cash award in the Masquerade.
Wow.
So it was kind of like, that could have gone to some really good costumes or a really good performance, but instead, like, they kind of, pulled the ultimate gimmick. And that's great. They got $1,000 to help, pay for their wedding.
Yeah,
but,
well, there you go.
From a Masquerade standpoint, it was kind of like, all right, well, I would have been irritated if that had won over, say us, doing something, that we had practiced a whole lot and done really, really well on. But, since it wasn't, we weren't, I'm happy for them.
Very good. All right. Well, nice. So that was Sunday night or Saturday night?
That was Saturday night. It was late night. And then Sunday was, you kind of relaxed. We just threw on street clothes and headed over. We tried to get there early to get there as they opened, so Caitlin could get her universe official Ray costume pouch, which was an exclusive. It's not. It wasn't her universe. Oh, it was Loungefly. Sorry, but the pouch is still available in general, but it came with some accessories, like a little headband that was stitched with their goggles on it. It was really cool. Unfortunately, as is frequently the case with Comic-Con, when I tried to go get my exclusives, the floor that opened at 9:30 didn't open until 9:45 from my entrance.
Right.
And screwed everything up, and so I was there after everyone else and didn't get anything. Of course, we got there at like 9:15ish to get Caitlin there by 9:30, and by the time she got in, I was like, "Oh no, the floor's been open since like 9 o'clock." They just opened it early for no reason. So, just another day of exclusive hunting. Screw it up by Comic-Con, but after that, it was pretty much relaxed. We didn't have any other agenda, so we walked around for a bit. We slipped into what I've been looking forward to for a while, because I've seen the toys come out, but I've had scattered news about the actual show. Is a cartoon called Superhero Girls, and it's kind of I don't know if it's supposed to be a high school or a middle school or just like a Hogwarts school, but it's like a school for superheroes, and it's all of the DC superheroes out, adjusted to be that age. So there's Wonder Woman and Supergirl and Batgirl, and they've got really cool, cute little design, redeco costumes that fit, like a school age kid, and it's all about them working together and having fun, and it was really smartly written. It was fun, and it was really cool, and they were giving out free capes at the door.
Which Cordelia got her cape from?
Which you may have, you may have seen.
That makes sense now. All right, we'll follow up and check that out.
But yeah, it was great. I definitely recommend it. We got to see the second half of the new special movie they did, and it was really cool to, after it was over, see all these little girls in their costumes and their capes being like, I want to watch that again. It's like, I want to be all the superhero girls, and, really having, enjoyed it and had something that they could see, representation in. It was really cool. We saw a little girl in an Elsa dress and her superhero girl's cape and Captain America's shield and a foam sword that she had gotten on the floor. So she was ready for battle.
Yeah, I guess so. That's good. We'll have to trade off between that and Voltron, which is the other one we've been watching.
Yeah.
Right on. Excellent. So that sounds exhausting just listening to it.
Yeah, that was great. We just kind of tootled around the rest of the time. We didn't really do any special events. There was a Pokemon Go panel on Sunday that had been planned for like room 24D or something, tiny. And then on Monday, they said, yeah, we're moving this to Hall H, which is the largest possible room in the convention center. And we're like, well, I don't want to stand in line to get into Hall H for a Pokemon Go panel, but Hall H is on the end of the convention center, so let's go stand outside the wall of Hall H and hope that we're close enough to be within GPS range of anything. Yeah. Should the rumors prove to be true and they release something weird into the wild at the con. And we were not the only ones to have that idea. In fact, there was probably a third again the capacity of Hall H standing outside the wall of Hall H.
Did anything come up from it?
Nope.
All right, well.
But there was a lot of players huddled together there, which meant there was a lot of Pokemon spawning. So, get to hang out and chat with people from all over who were playing, and hear stories about mass players gathering in Central Park in New York City, and
Yeah, wasn't there some kind of big gathering at Balboa Park on, was it Saturday or something like that?
Oh, yeah, there was. There was an event there. I mean, I tell you, living near Balboa Park, every day there's a mass gathering at Balboa Park. Like, there is not a day where I haven't driven by and the entire Prado is lit up with lures on all of the Pokestops. I went running over there at lunch one day last week, and or I guess week before last, and there's like a little rotunda shaded with trellises in the rose garden, which is way at the ass end of Balboa Park. But yeah, I was like running over. I was like, oh look, there's like some people there and some people there. There's like a dozen, 2 dozen people here in the rose garden playing Pokemon Go. And then I ran down in the rotunda. I was like, oh no, make that like a score of scores. There was like 150 people there at least, just all sitting. There was nowhere to sit, and people just hanging out in the shade, and more hanging around. So
I want to say
all over.
Matt showed me the Facebook, whatever, the meetup gathering thing that had, I don't know, 11,000 people planning on going, and
wow,
just ridiculous numbers. I'm like, wow, good luck. Just have fun. I'm not going anywhere near that, but
yeah. You kind of hope that those end up being near a cell tower or something, because it's so rough trying to stay on the game. But you get a lot of activity.
All right, for those of you who did stick around, we actually do have a 2E spoiler.
That's right.
Now I take that back. Wait a minute.
Why would you take that back?
Well, I don't see a cost.
Oh yeah, there is no cost, but this is definitely.
It's got to be, because that's way too much.
It's got to be. Yeah. Well, it says something about a dilemma pile, so.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we'll get to that in just a second. We've got a ID draft coming up on Saturday, which is one of those just show up with backers and sleeves, and you get to play with whatever you draft, which is kind of my kind of 2E tournament right now. We've got Gen Con coming up in a week and a half. So yeah, I'm flying out a week from tomorrow. I've got a pretty good idea what I want to play for 2E. I've got a kind of inkling of what I want to do for 1E, and I do have a triples deck built already to go. So I'm okay there.
Oh, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah. Well, should have started 1E a week ago, but that's fine. I've got a weekend, and we'll see. So we'll have some Star Trek events to talk about. Next week we'll probably talk about the next audio episode that we've been building up to all this time. Anything else we want to cover before we jump into the spoiler?
Well, there's one thing that I did not get to participate in at Comic-Con, but was relevant to our interests.
Yes.
There was a Star Trek panel, which was largely advertised as being like a retrospective and sort of tribute to Leonard Nimoy and other things. They had the premiere, the red carpet premiere, not the world premiere, as a lot of our international friends have been happy to correct. But they had the red carpet premiere for Star Trek Beyond Wednesday night at the amphitheater behind the convention center. The San Diego Symphony Orchestra played the score along with the movie.
I heard good things from Matt and Charlie, who got to go.
A lot of people have said good things about the movie. I still obviously, for obvious reasons, haven't got to see it, but I'm looking forward to that. But the big news coming out of the con was some actual movement on the series that is upcoming. We got to see, we got a title, and we got a little bit of a teaser. Have you got a chance to see that online?
I did. I watched. So it's Star Trek. Was it Discovery?
Discovery.
All right. So it's another space shuttle name. I like that. That's nice.
Yep.
I was confused as to what ship that could possibly be. The number seemed to indicate after TOS, but before, I guess, Enterprise C, Enterprise B. I don't know.
There was no bloody A, B, C, or D.
Yeah.
It was definitely, it looked to be maybe an older, like a movie era design, or maybe a post-movie, somewhere post-movie pre-C. I don't know, it was very angular,
was very chunky. I don't think it matched,
Yeah.
the flow that they've kind of established for how the ships go. But
Yeah.
sure, everyone can't stand the look of any new ship the first time you see it.
Yeah.
I mean, everything from Voyager to Defiant. I'm like, what the heck is that? But I kind of learned to get used to them and like and appreciate the aesthetics. But that was rough. Angular looked very looked like the back end of a Klingon like battle cruiser. With that
Oh
angles and
yeah.
the cells being lower than
Yeah.
usual. It looked like, but I'm gonna have to find someone who has a CBS account and hit them up for it, or do a weekly gathering at maybe Max Place or something.
Oh yeah.
I'll have to figure out something to do because I would like to watch it, but I don't want to pay $10 a month to watch Star Trek for 6 months or whatever.
Yeah.
That seems a bit odd, but or what's the other option? A VPN outside the country because you can watch it on Netflix and anywhere else other than the United States.
Right. Sure.
Which is the opposite of what everyone's been doing, VPNing into the United States to watch Star Trek on Netflix, right?
Exactly.
All right. Good. But yeah. I saw Johnny's response, something about the graphics looking like amateur hour.
It was pretty basic.
I watched it on a small screen, so I really didn't notice that. But I'll have to blow it up, and we'll have to have a discussion if everybody comes out this weekend on Saturday. But yeah, fun stuff.
Cool.
I'm looking forward to hearing. We get if it's going to be like a TOS or TNG style crew going out to explore, or what we're going to get.
Yeah.
All
right. Well, that's the Star Trek news from the weekend. So I think that wraps Comic-Con coverage. So let's go ahead and get that spoiler that we kind of teased.
All right. So we have no. Let's talk about what we don't have. We don't have a cost, which is a lie because I was sent a cost. The cost is 3. This is a 3 cost.
Okay.
A 3 cost non-aligned personnel. We don't have a collector number, but I think we have everything else here. We don't have a picture. It's just text.
We don't have an image, yeah, but just text. So this is a personnel non-aligned, as you mentioned, cost 3, and it is named Verad, Verad, and his subtitle is Rejected Candidate.
All right, this is the Bajoran guy, right? No,
Bajoran
sorry,
guy?
Not Bajoran. I'm thinking Bajoran because it's DS9. The guy with the spots, the Trill guy.
Trill, yes.
Okay, kind of an angular face. All right, so I just looked him up on. I googled him. All right, very good. So I know what we're talking about now. Rejected candidate Trill. If I would have read a little bit further, I would have gotten to the species. He's got a staff star and Trill. He's got 4 skills. 4 skills and mediocre stats. All right. Exobiology, leadership, programming, treachery. And he does have the thief keyword. So we got a new non-aligned thief. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. But no host.
No. Yeah, that's right. So no the ritual of killing people.
No right of emergence.
Right of emergence, yeah. It's been a while. So the game text is interesting. When you play this personnel, you may search your dilemma pile for up to 3 copies of Skeleton Crew and place some on your opponent's missions. Then shuffle and replace. Shuffle and replaced? There's a typo there. Shuffle and replace your dilemma pile, so I'm guessing what it's supposed to say.
Yeah, so that for what otherwise looks to be kind of a mediocre personnel, that certainly explains the cost, and it's directly related thematically to.
I like the thematic connection. That's nice.
Yeah, his episode. That's obviously where the original Skeleton Crew card image and story came from, was Deep Space Nine being down Skeleton Crew, which is when they chose to strike. So yeah, that's a really cool thematic use of that personnel and their kind of role in that episode. So neat. I like it. Yep. And very meta inducing game text.
So Skeleton Crew, in case it's been a while since we've played 2nd edition, says place this dilemma on this mission. To begin a mission attempt of this mission, you must have at least 6 personnel involved. When you complete, the dilemma is overcome. It's a 0 cost. So you play it early, you get your 3 copies out of your dilemma file, and then you don't have to draw it. But they're already in place, so you'll at least be getting 6. Would you consider playing this guy if you were worried about minimal crew attempts instead of transport trash survivors? Wow. Crash Survivors, that was the old title.
Yeah, I mean it does it does affect your opponent directly instead of everyone. So if I was going to micro team and I was afraid of my opponent micro teaming,
there you go.
this seems like a good way to do it, and a nice target for something like Arandis or historical research to go and dig that guy out early and get that going.
Yeah, swap out the TCAs with the historical research, and now you got a different mission, but maybe one you can do a little easier and get this guy out, get a body out early, get those cards out of your dilemma pile. It'd be interesting if you're going for a minimalist dilemma pile. This would be one more way of whittling it down even more.
Yeah, exactly. And Bajoran micro teamers are they're kind of the specialists of the micro teaming field, them and TNG, but with historical research, they can do that.
Yeah,
that's 2 Anther, 2 Arco, and Integrity. Bring it on.
Yeah, well, this guy's not going to help with the Integrity. His stats are 3, 5, 6. So once again, nothing crazy. I guess Strength of 6 is better than average, but that Integrity and Cunning is going to hurt if you're trying to use him to solve a mission.
Well, and I don't think that's really what he's in here for. I think this is a little bit more like, let's put this meta text on a mission so it can't be canceled like it would be on an event or an interrupt. This is, I feel like the same thing. Well, let's take this text and put it on a personnel so it can't be, canceled by Amanda or Kevin or whatever the 2E versions are, and that way it'll actually go off.
I like the idea of using him, getting him out early, throwing him down, spamming a bunch of missions with Skeleton Crew, and just throwing him at a mission so he dies. Yeah.
Oh no, he got hit by a secret ID or
secret ID him into a. Well, I was gonna say a trill that has a host, but I don't know if there are any non-aligned versions of those.
Oh yeah, he's non-aligned.
Yeah.
Still, just get him out of here.
Yep.
Kill him, swap him. Whatever.
Well, that means he can go with any deck, though.
Oh darn! He get hit by hard time. Because I'll play him again and put one on your 4th mission. Of course, then you'd be cheating because you get 4 copies.
How many are you playing with in your dilemma pile there?
Hey, you can have something that bounces. You get one of those cards that bounces dilemmas from.
If you solve your mission, come and then you bounce it back and play it again. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
You have total coverage. Then you have to go which one mission they're not planning on doing, or at least micro teaming. Very good. All right. Did we miss anything? I think we've got everything but the lore, maybe.
His lore is a quote from said episode. "I only want what is rightfully mine," referring, of course, to him thinking that he was the rightful candidate to play host to the Dax symbiote.
Right on. All right, and I guess he's not actually a Dax. He's just a Varad. He's not Varad Dax. So.
Yeah. So this is. I mean, he just only very briefly has the symbiote. So I don't even know if you could say it long enough to be a host, or you could just say because this is 2E and you have versions of.
Right. That would be a different persona of the.
This is exactly.
Cool.
This is the pre-version.
Right on. All right. So Comic-Con spoiler plans for next week. I think that's about everything we have. Is there anything else on your list?
No, I think that's a bit all the intelligence we have for this week. We'll definitely come back to you in some form with a report of the tournament from next week if one of us or both of us are able to attend. If we can't, we'll get somebody else to tell us about it because I want to know how the new revamped ID draft goes. But in the meantime, I am Sir Rogue.
And I'm Sir Dan.
And I will remind you all to expand your power in the universe.
And I will draw to end.